guys, I am getting ready to make myself a cup of tea, and I had a craving for pine needle tea and thought, you know what, since I just did the video on harvesting pine needles, I might as well do a quick video on making this tea. It's super easy, super simple. The needles are all still fresh. I've just got a lovely little handful. Usually when you're doing a tea, about a teaspoon is generally average for a cup for most medicinal tea type plants, unless they're a heavy duty medicinal. Sometimes you use a little bit less or more depending on the situation. If they're dried, about a teaspoon. If they're fresh, I usually double that and usually do at least 2 teaspoons of fresh whatever I'm doing, which in this case is pine needles. And I'm gonna scoot the camera up a little bit closer to the stove here and get going. Alrighty, since I wasn't planning on doing this, it may not be super easy to see everything, but hopefully it will be easy enough that everything gets on the video that needs to be. First off, there's multiple ways that you can make your tea, of course, when you're using loose leaf stuff. I like using a French press, which is just a glass metal container. Depends on what kind you get that has some type of a screen like this. So you put your herbs in the bottom, you fill it up with water or however much water you want, and then you just let it steep. And then after it's done, you push this screen all the way down, which then holds the herbs or coffee grinds, depending on what you're making, down into the bottom, and then you can have your lovely tea poured out the front. Another option is you can get empty tea bags like this that are just drawstring tea bags made out of paper. There's multiple different sizes and varieties. One thing you do want to be careful of is trying to get unbleached, and some of the manufacturers really use super nasty chemicals making the paper stuff. So sometimes for convenience it's really nice, but if you're not needing something really convenient, doing it without the paper, even store-bought tea bags, the paper can have so many chemicals in it, it's ridiculous. So anyways, they're a great option if you need it quick to go. There's lots of tea balls, which I have multiples and I didn't pull those out. There's lots of reusable tea bag ball type things, spoons, various and sundry things that have holes in them that you can put the herbs into, close them up, and dip them into your cup and let it brew, and then just dump the herbs out and wash the little ball that you have left. And that's a great option too. The French press is easy and it's what I do. Let's see, while I was making, I have my water heating here, of course, as you can see. You can boil the needles. If you boil the needles, it actually harms the vitamin C. And so pouring boiling water over them and steeping is the option I like. The vitamin A, these guys are really high in vitamin A as well, and the boiling water doesn't hurt them at all. So if you're making a heavy-duty tea and you really are wanting the vitamin C in it, don't boil it. Just pour the boiling or steaming water over it and let it set that way. All right, these are all washed and nice. So first thing I'm gonna do is just chop them up. I chop them into about 1/2 inch pieces. Kitchen shears works really, really well. And when I was making the video yesterday, I was thinking about it, and I didn't mention the potential negative effects of these guys, as I wasn't really making an herbal video so much as a harvesting video, but I'll go ahead and mention it now. Ponderosa in particular, you do not want to use when you are pregnant. It has some toxic elements. If you Google it, in fact, some sources will say it's poisonous altogether and you shouldn't use it, which just isn't true. But there is definitely a reason that they say that. Let me show you this little pieces all chopped up in there. And I'm actually going to add a pinch of mint to this as well, just for a little bit of flavor. You can add any other herb that you want for flavor, and I think Ponderosa tastes better than white pine. It's sweeter, which probably is one of the reasons why it's got such a reputation for being toxic, because cows and goats, etc., really like it, and it's very tasty, so they eat a lot of it, and it can cause some major toxicity problems, especially in cattle. So the compound that Ponderosa pine has is called isopressic acid, and it causes abortions. Now, pine in general is not recommended if you're pregnant at all, and so I just avoid it altogether and don't recommend it at all if someone's pregnant, just to be safe. But Ponderosa in particular has higher levels of this acid, and it can cause spontaneous abortions in cattle. I'm not sure there's any actual evidence that it's ever caused an abortion in humans, but when we know it's very likely to cause abortion in certain animals, it's just better to avoid it for various reasons. And isopressic acid also can affect humans, and we do know that. It also has a compound called fujone, which some people talk about, and it can be toxic in high doses. It's also found in sage, rosemary, thyme, a lot of really, really common herbs that are very, very safe. However, if you eat them in massive quantities, you know, you could have some problems. And the same is true with pine. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and add this lovely steaming boiling water in here. I'm doing this about half full. And I like to push the screen down just a tiny little bit to make sure everything is submerged, but don't squish it all down to the bottom because you want it flowing in the liquid and absorbing as much of the goodies into your water as possible. All right, so back to the potential toxicity. So with thyme, sage, for example, they've done studies on sage leaves and how much tea you can drink and it be safe. You can drink 3 to 6 cups a day without having any toxic effects, and it's very similar with pine. However, if you have any potential toxicity issues, using white pine or a different pine that doesn't have the isosuppressic acid in it can be a good idea, but in medicinal forms, if you're taking it every day, if you're going to make it as a tonic and you're going to drink the tea every single day, if you're going to make a cough syrup that is, well, that's not a cough syrup, that's more of a wow, my mind just went blank. More of a preventative. If you're wanting to take it every day as a preventative thing, kind of for your vitamin C or just up in your goodies like that, then I would use a different type of pine. But for medicinal purposes, for a cough syrup that you're only taking when you have a cough, for a tea that you're drinking, you know, not every day from time to time, there is no ill effects that I've seen. I've seen many, many herbalists for years and years and years and years use Ponderosa, and only recently has it seemed to be coming up a ton that, oh, it's toxic, and it mostly seems to be online. And it is toxic to cows, but I want to keep in mind and just mention that the studies they've done with cows, they were feeding the cows to make them abort 10 pounds of young pine needles every day to make them abort, and for you know, a couple of weeks. And so the amount that you need to consume to make something highly dangerous and toxic like this is quite a lot on these type things. But I wanted to mention it anyways, just because it can be confusing if someone's saying, hey, Ponderosa is my favorite, and then you Google it and it's like, that's the one that you shouldn't use. And there are some reasons that you wouldn't want to use it potentially, but not in a herbal format like this, where it's going to be a not a regular thing. Sorry, my brain. It's early in the morning and I just wanted a cup of tea and totally wasn't planning on making a video, so my brain is just kind of all over the place. But it's great. There are many, many, many herbs that we use all the time that are considered highly toxic, you know, and if you go consuming 3 or 4 pounds of them, you're definitely going to have a problem. But in the way we consume them, they can be extremely beneficial and very healthy. And for me, I think Ponderosa tastes better just for a nice refreshing cup of tea every once in a while than white pine does. But if I'm making more of an immune boosting type tonic that we're going to take regularly, I would use white pine, or usually I go for Douglas fir. Douglas fir is kind of my go-to for the more long-term daily dosage kind of stuff. All right, so this is gonna set. I leave it for at least 10 minutes. You can leave it for longer if you want, of course, and then pour it off. You can sweeten it with a little bit of honey or just drink it straight. Some people like the taste of it. Some people, you know, it's kind of like, most people don't hate it though. It's very well, if you like the smell of pine trees, you can imagine that's kind of how it tastes. But like I said, you can, like I did here, you can add a little bit of mint or chamomile or other things that you like the taste of that can help it be a little bit more flavorful. I personally love just the taste of plain pine tea. My stomach is just a little bit upset this morning, and so I wanted to throw a little bit of mint in also for it. But I really enjoy just plain pine tea with a little bit of honey in it. I think it's delicious. So that is how I go about making my lovely teas for a morning tonic. It doesn't make a very dark tea, as you can see. Oops, it's a little light, a lovely light green yellowish color, and it's beautiful. I wish you guys could smell this, especially with the mint. It's just fantastic. And the mint I added is apple mint, actually, that I harvested from my garden, and it's a sweeter, very aromatic mint. It's just wonderful. I love it. It's very similar to spearmint, and I really like it. Alrighty, that's it for today. I am going to enjoy my delicious cup of tea and talk to you guys soon. And until next time, happy growing and happy brewing.